Hey everyone, here's a live update of everything happening. There's more precipitation that's obviously falling. The sleet is coming down heavy. As you can see, I am in the weather lab. We've got you covered on the storms and the winter weather that's impending across the area. And so the driveway's iced over. There's a lot of sleet that's happening. Nothing in Harrison so far, but Melissa, it's coming real soon. In fact, if we look at Mega Doppler, there is precipitation just about to nudge into Harrison. So, literally, as I'm talking to you, you're going to start hearing and seeing sleet pellets. Now, what's interesting is there is a corridor of icing, but I've been looking a lot at the latest, and it appears that this freezing rain corridor is going to be shifting south as the cold air continues to get deeper. That is good news in terms of icing accumulation. That is not good news, though, for areas that are expected to get ice, which will be in the river valley, and especially the southern river valley and the Washitas. So, first of all, let's take a look at some of the cameras and line this up. First of all, heavy sleet is coming down right now in the Gravit area. And if we look at our WeatherBug Network camera in Gravit, you're going to see that everything is pretty much sleet covered. Bella Vista is also horrible. And there you can see it. It was dry completely not too long ago, and now Bella Vista is getting sleet covered as well. And as you'll see, all of Benton County is pretty much getting these bursts of sleet. What we'll do immediately is we'll change the radar, and you can see some pockets of heavier sleet. Gentry really getting heavy sleet right now. And there's already reports of about a half-inch of sleet. That's enough for winter storm criteria. That's all sleet. Whoa, it sure is. Now, it's not all sleet everywhere across the area. There's already freezing rain that's starting to develop. However, if you're doing any traveling, the roads are actually right now, besides some ice patches, okay. I-49, you can see people driving along pretty quick. They have treated the roads. They are better. But remember, any sudden movements, any sudden turns, and you're about to slide over. So just be aware of that. There is more freezing rain that's falling, but this is in the lower elevation, so no real expansive bridges close to the Mountainburg area, but they get a lot worse the farther north you get. There's freezing rain that's beginning to fall in Fort Smith, and there's some really heavy freezing rain that's developing that could potentially contain some lightning that's going to be moving into the river valley. So the corridor of freezing rain, as we go back to Mega Doppler here, is going to be basically from, and you can see the way it is, the river valley, especially the Washitas, and that's going to continue into about southern Washington County. Still some sleet pockets, maybe northern Crawford County, extending into southern Madison County and Newton County. So that freezing rain corridor kind of runs, just to let you know, it runs this way. So I'm going to hear some of your reports and see them on the Facebook and on this live update. But there's that heavy corridor of sleet. So let's take a look at some comments here. Over an inch of sleet in the Centerton area. So our camera that's closest to that, that's a lot of sleet. It's almost covering the ground, and it's continuing to sleet. Lincoln here, and Lincoln showing as well. Maybe not as much sleet because there's currently a break in the precipitation for the Lincoln area. So if we go here, southwest Washington County, here comes another little area of sleet that's developing. So what's interesting about winter storms like this is that the precipitation rarely does it fill in completely and it just stays solid. There's always breaks in the precipitation. There's these little areas that pick up a little bit more. Here's some lightning that's popping up a little bit farther south and east of the previous lightning. And so that could make its way, potentially, this could hold together, make its way into Washington County. Haley says, boyfriend wrecked on the way to work this morning at Harrison at 6 a.m. He's okay. Car's a total loss. I am so sorry to hear that. I'm plugging in this camera because I just lost the light. We have an inch, at least an inch or more. Thank you, Wrangler. I appreciate it. Glad the kiddos had a day off. Thoughts on school closures tomorrow? I think that, well, there we go. Michelle, think there's going to be more AMI days, more closures, more snow days, or sleet days, if you will. East Rogers has really been getting it. Yeah, Haley K. Glad he's okay. Sorry about the vehicle and the total loss. I believe the inch of sleet, man. It is coming down big time. So let's first of all take a look at what we've got. There's a lot of winter storm warnings. There's a lot of ice storm warnings. There's a lot of things that we got to kind of iron out and the timing of all this. And there's going to be a little bit of confusion the way that this winter storm warning only goes until 6. There's a reason for that, and I'm going to show you why. So I had heavy sleet in Holiday Island. Oh, man, I bet. Highway 5. So Jerry said that sleet in Holiday Island. We've got Baxter County, a log truck overturned. That's no good. Oh, man, that's going to be a mess. Newton, North Carolina. Trees in Wayton. If that's NC, North Carolina, or is that Northern Crawford? I never heard of it. Yeah. We have rime ice on everything. No precip yet. I think that might be Northern Crawford County. Waiting. Thank you, Jane. I don't think it's North Carolina. If that's the case, I don't know exactly where that is. But just tagged you in a Twitter post. I'll check that out. Newton County. Waiting. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's early. You're right. Waiting is covered. That makes sense. You have to remind me where Waiting is. Oh, I know. It's south of Parthenon. I remember now. Yeah. Let me show you what we got here. So here's south of Waiting. South of Parthenon. There's Waiting. Totally ice covered. And here comes the freezing rain. Oh, that's not good. Yeah. That's going to be freezing rain for sure. Let me know if that's sleet or freezing rain if you're in there for Waiting. Jane, I appreciate that. All right. So NC for Newton County. I get you. Yeah. There was a wreck 30 feet from him. Cops said they worked 7 wrecks in Harrison. I know. Is all? Yeah. Thank you, Melissa. Appreciate that. Let's see. So freezing fog, mid-morning it turned to sleet. Now it's on and off, freezing rain and a rain mix. No, there's not going to be 1 to 3 inches of snow. Nope. Waiting equals the boonies. Yep. South. Gotcha. Glad to see you made it to the office. I did. Okay. Heavy sleet in Cave Springs. Let me go through these winter storm warnings. By the way, the system crashed again. What's going on? Josh said it was crashing a lot. You know what I'm going to do? In the meantime, I am going to reboot this system because I think it needs it. All right. Okay, Rhonda. Great question. So, how many of you had donuts for breakfast this morning? Great way to remember freezing rain and sleet. So, you have a donut. That's the ground. Freezing rain is when you have a glazed donut. So basically the glaze sticks to the donut and it stays there. That's freezing rain. It's rain that falls as rain but freezes on contact on elevated surfaces, just like a glazed donut. When you have sprinkles on the donuts, that's sleet. The sprinkles bounce off the donut. If the glaze, however, is wet, then the sprinkles will stick on it. Same thing with freezing rain and then the sleet sticking on the freezing rain. But freezing rain is way worse than sleet because freezing rain accumulates on power lines and it keeps adding up. Whereas you can't, if the sleet pellets are already frozen together, they bounce off of each other. So that's kind of how that works. Now I want donuts. I know we had some for breakfast this morning. Someone say donuts, yeah. Well, the bucket in theory works too. The bucket interpretation, the bucket analogy. Freezing rain is on the bucket, sleet is in the bucket. Okay, so no school for an AMI day tomorrow. I believe that. I think everything else is going to follow suit. So let me show you some other iDrive Arkansas cameras while I've got you on here. I could hear them sounding more and more alerts. So let's take a look at iDrive Arkansas. So this is the iDrive Arkansas map. We'll look at Siloam Springs, totally covered in sleet. And all the I-49 areas are going to be covered in sleet. But you can see the more people that drive on it, the better it is. Not many people driving on that, though. That's not very much travel. But notice how the power lines have very little accumulation. They have it on the trees. It has a little bit of a glaze on the power lines. But sleet's not going to stick on the power lines. So that's good news. Here's the highway. Look at that, 412 bridge. Boy, that looks slick. Anybody makes a quick change or sudden change in direction, you're going to have some issues. By the way, heavy sleet's about to come into that area. So if we go back to Mega Doppler, and then we'll zoom in on that Highway 412 bridge that's crossing over Beaver Lake right here. And if we go back to this camera, you're literally going to see this area about to start getting some heavy sleet. It's coming in here shortly. And it doesn't take long for the road to be covered. So this is the Highway 412 bridge. So what we'll do is we'll leave it on there. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, winter storm warning has been expanded. Okay, so I got the computer back up and running. After rebooting it, I needed to. Bring this up. Yeah, get the pets inside ASAP. By the way, we fed our cat, if you were wondering. And once she got fed, she stopped crying. Imagine that. So we'll look at tomorrow here in just a second. I had to reboot everything because it was a little bit slow. Bentonville roads, there will be a break in the precipitation, just to let you know. So we're going to go through the winter storm warnings because a lot of them only go until 6 o'clock. And just to let you know, 6 o'clock is not the end of this entire winter storm. It is for the first round of precipitation, but the second round is going to last a little bit longer. So again, Mega Doppler, there's the sleet coming in. You can see it falling on the camera, and pretty soon this road's going to be covered, and it won't take long. Those bursts of sleet come in. All right, got this back. We're going to run through all these winter storm warnings. Yes, I want to take the lock. Didn't realize I had that loaded. Okay. All right. Lot of hell. Your husky refuses to come inside. I can believe that. Huskies love this cold. My dog, on the other hand, no thanks. She's saying. Okay. So many things to compute. All right. Here we go. Let's run through this. First of all, Southwest Missouri, Berry and McDonald County. It's a different weather service office, so they have a different time for the warning. So this winter storm warning goes from now until midnight. So you might be thinking, oh, well, then that's it. And that's the end of the storm. That's just the first round of precipitation. So this winter storm warning is for mainly sleet and some light snow, and a light glaze as well. And a few thunderstorms could be possible. And that's later on this afternoon. We work our way south. And we'll do the Tulsa National Weather Service area. That goes until 6 o'clock in the evening. So a little bit earlier is when it goes and ends, expires. And that, by the way, is for, you guessed it, sleet and heavy sleet accumulation around 1/2 to an inch. Also, 1/10 of an inch of ice. There could be some ice, there could be some rain mixed in that, but mostly it's all sleet, which is good news, even though it's a mess on the roads. And now we're going to work our way to the east. The National Weather Service out of Little Rock goes until 9 o'clock. Well, that makes sense because that's farther east. So, of course, the warning is going to last a little longer because it'll take a little longer for the precipitation to move out. This is also for freezing rain and sleet. Now, it's going to be predominantly, and that doesn't show up as the winter storm warning. They got a winter weather advisory for the River Valley until 6 a.m. for Wednesday. You see that? So it goes a long time. They have upgraded the winter storm warning for Adair County, as well as Sequoia County and Delaware County, and it still goes until 6 o'clock. And then an upgrade to the winter storm warning for the River Valley and LaFleur County. That goes until 6 a.m. Now, the National Weather Service out of Little Rock for Scott County has issued an ice storm warning that goes until 9 a.m. So a lot of different alerts. And then finally, the National Weather Service out of Little Rock has issued a winter weather advisory until 9 a.m. for Logan and Johnson County. So a lot of different alerts. Winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings, and ice storm warnings. Those are the predominant areas. Now, let's take a look at what we've got for a long range forecast. And so, first of all, this is showing, and just to let you know, the HRRR model does not differentiate sleet from freezing rain. It just shows it as a mix. Unfortunately, this graphic, you can't get the 4 different precipitation types. I've asked them for it. I definitely want it. We need it for this area for sure, but it does not show a differentiation between sleet and freezing rain. So while this looks like freezing rain, this in fact can still be sleet. So notice the precipitation by about 6 o'clock. Guess what? It moves east. That's why the winter storm warning expires. Farther east, it lingers a little longer. So that's why it goes until 9 o'clock. Notice the temperatures. We're in the low 20s. So anything that's on the roads, especially those that aren't treated, will be an issue. And then you'll see here Tuesday, everything's quiet until the next round, which happens late Tuesday morning. Now, this will most likely also be sleet, but there could be some freezing rain mixed in with this. There will be on the initial edge some snow because of the initial dynamic cooling at the very beginning of the precipitation. So that'll be mainly snow. Then that warm air advection will take over and it'll turn more to a sleet freezing rain mixture. But there are signs that the second round will be impacting more of the River Valley and central Arkansas and not so much northwest Arkansas. We'll see if that remains the case. It's weird, it has this banding. As the cold air gets deeper, it'll turn back over to snow. And I do think that's likely as that system finally comes through and the colder air arrives. Now, there could be quite a bit banding, and that would lead to more ice accumulation. So if we look at the ice accumulation, and we'll look at the different models, and this isn't perfect because remember, a lot of it is showing ice and it's really not ice right now. So if we take a look at this, that, by the way, is the 2009 ice storm picture. So we'll let the graph model load, and it's got 3/400ths of an inch in Fayetteville. But most of this has been sleet as well as Rogers. Now, areas farther south, such as Clinton and Little Rock, those will be areas that are under the gun for more winter weather. Also, it's showing Fort Smith not getting much, but that's not the trends of the radar. If we go back to Megadoppler, and there you go, you look at southwest of Fort Smith, and you can see this precipitation moving in. So another example of the models stinking to high heaven, not showing any precip, and yet we know that that's probably going to happen. GFS kind of has very light ice accumulation all over, and the NAM shows heavier, but we already know that it's been sleet. So, and there's no way to show sleet accumulation on this. If we look at the graph model, again, a lot of precipitation, but it moves out this evening. So, for those wondering about road conditions tomorrow, if the I Drive Arkansas and the Arkansas Department of Transportation treats those roads as temperatures hover in the mid 20s, then I think it'll be okay. I don't think the commute will be as nasty in the morning, just because it didn't catch as many people off guard. Then tomorrow, late morning into the afternoon, it's going to get bad. So that is probably why schools are going, you know what? Let's just call another AMI day. It'll be a mess out in the roads tomorrow afternoon, late morning into the afternoon, which could lead to an early release. So, and they don't want to deal with that. So I can imagine the schools are going to be like, forget it. Yeah, my Chihuahua mix is very mad. I bet. I have to force my dogs outside. Same here. Huskies love this cold, though. Daniel Jones said, "Do you think the Arkansas game gets canceled tomorrow?" Depends if the team can make it. I mean, I imagine. So we'll see. If they can't make it, then maybe the game will be, delayed or something. Just be listening to our Picture Nation team for the latest. Map is lit up like a Christmas tree. It sure is. And we're about to get some really heavy sleet. Now there's a look at that 412 bridge. You can see the sleet coming down, but of course those ruts where people drive, friction of the tires melts the sleet a little bit better, and also the pre-treatment. Look at the edges of the bridges. Those are typically the coldest. Boy, there is a lot of heavy freezing rain coming in. That is not good. And when we change the color scale, you can see the green still showing up. So there's more precipitation where that came from. It's a classic overrunning precipitation event. And if you don't know what that is, this is an overrunning precipitation event. So you have the cold air that's already in place. That warm air is forced upwards and overruns the colder, dense air. And so as it's climbing, it's condensing, and the warm air cools. And eventually that warm air cools down enough where clouds and precipitation start to form. So you remember we already had the fog and the thick low clouds. We had that with overrunning precipitation. And then you get the different types of winter weather. You get the rain, you get freezing rain, and you get sleet, depending on the depth of that cold air. Really amazing and good graphic right there that I think shows what's happening. So that's a good question, Melissa. Considering that when one expires at 6, they will probably issue a new one when the precipitation starts to develop. I think for some areas where the precipitation continues, they'll just extend it, but it's gonna be wild. Just saw a jet landing at XNA now. I can believe that. Any reports of thunder snow? There's no thunder snow, but there is thunder sleet and a lot of it. So if you look near Okima, you can see that precipitation coming down right here with a little bit of some lightning. So it's right on the back edge of that. All right. Bentonville has already called for an AMI day. There you go. How do you measure sleet? The same way as you measure snow, with a ruler. Even the Husky's not digging the ice. She does love the snow, though. Chewini hates her life right now, wants to die. She's cold even in the summer. That's hilarious. Okay. So there's rain in northeast Benton County. So that's good to know because that means more ice accumulation. So let's change the mode here where we show precip type. And northeast Benton County is showing more of the freezing sleet, but yet we have a report of freezing rain. Wow. Dusty, that's a good question. I'm going to have to look at that here. If that's the case, that would just be absolutely awful. Yeah, it looks like one person, one or two people, very, very limited. Like we're talking like single digits for people, but there's like one or two people that are out in the different counties in the area. So it's not a major outage. In the entire state of Arkansas, there's only 557 customers out. So it's very limited, Dusty, but there are quite a few. Do you see Northwest Arkansas getting more precip than the models are showing? I think the cutoff does happen at a little after 6. I do believe that. It makes sense because that wave of energy is coming through. I do believe that's going to be expanded. Yes, looking at it. Oh, hey, Dan. Now it's sleeting in Harrison. And I mean pouring sleet is what she said. Yep. It's called AMI. And AMI means Alternative Methods Instruction. So that's what AMI stands for. Speaking of alternative methods instruction, here is a look at overrunning precipitation. This is kind of a cool graphic, but Anna, this is the different precipitation types again. There's many different ways to tell the story, right? So we have that cold wedge of air that's coming in. This, by the way, would be looking west. So this is basically in the river valley right here. This is in Northwest Arkansas where the cold air is just a little deeper. And Southwest Missouri, we're talking way north of Newton County in Southwest Missouri. You've got basically colder air, and that warm nose hasn't quite made it into that region. Let's see. Parthenon, Newton County hasn't hit our hollow south below Wayton yet. Nope, it hasn't, but it's coming. If we look at the precipitation coming in, there you can see it right here. Little batches of precipitation coming in. There you see it, south of Parthenon, and that's coming right towards Wayton. And if that band expands, that's coming right over you. So that's going to be something to watch for sure. That's going to be in about a couple hours. Wow. Okay, so I told our general manager that she can make it if they go because she'll miss all of this. This is some heavy sleet that's coming in, but she had to leave right away. Otherwise, this will encounter. So just to let you know, for your afternoon and evening commute, folks, this is coming in and it's going to get worse on I-49. So if you do have any traveling, I would not do it later in the afternoon because that's going to really get hammered hard. Kyle, I don't know about Mounds, Illinois. I appreciate you watching from there, but boy, that's a long ways, and I actually got to run because I got to get a part of this meeting. So, just in case acronyms don't work, that's funny. Just started here in Harrison. All righty. Well, guys, be safe. We'll do another update. Of course, I've got a lot of stuff that I've got to do behind the scenes to get ready for this, and just want to give you a quick update. It's going to get worse as a heavier burst of precipitation comes in, and this might have some thunder with it. So thunder, sleet, and thunder freezing rain tomorrow. Remember, there's going to be a break in that precipitation from a little after 6 o'clock tonight all the way overnight. There still could be that mist and freezing drizzle. If that happens, then we got some bad roads. But if not, then we'll have better road conditions tomorrow morning. The temperatures aren't going anywhere, though. They're going to stay down. So just be aware of that. Just want to finish up this graphic, too. So if you'll notice, there's a truck. It's exactly what we experienced. Slide offs, people spinning out. Sleet is very difficult to stop in, even though it gives you some traction. If you slam on the brakes, it gets a little slick. So keep the steering wheel straight. Don't brake as suddenly. and take your foot off the accelerator and slow down. Please, please slow down. All right. I think the thunder sleet's going to be northeast Oklahoma, but it could clip parts of Washington County. It's tough to say exactly where that thunder sleet's going to be, but there's a lot of precipitation filling in to the southwest. You can see it right here. And if we change the precip type, look at this area building up. This is making a beeline for Washington County, whereas the first round made a beeline for Benton County. So it's about to get worse, especially for the Washington County area. Okay, guys, I got to run. Take care. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Just love to keep you guys ahead of the storm and get you in the know. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you later on tonight on the news and, of course, more Facebook Live updates as warranted. Take care. Thanks, and God bless.